was a good comeback episode. Actually, a buddy of mine last night, Tim O'Sullivan, was like, "Hey, when are you guys gonna do another episode?" He's like, "I've been waiting," and I was like, "Oh, like actually, we're doing one tomorrow night."
Yeah.
He's like, "Good, I've been waiting." Like,
yeah, my friend at work stopped asking.
Yeah, and actually, another guy, Sean, was asking me. He's like, because he didn't know we were doing this. Jimmy was telling me, he's like, "Oh, Rick does this podcast with some guys and blah 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 whatever." And he's like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It's like I was being stupid.
Yeah.
But tonight he was like, "Where's your fucking podcast? Where's it at? Where do I find it?"
Well, here it is.
He's celebrated his entire catalog.
That's awesome.
I think I'm getting shocked.
So what did you think of the Tobin Center, Mike?
I thought it was a really neat venue.
Yeah.
Really cool place. Yeah, thought that screen was pretty impressive. Thought the architecture of the building was really nice.
Nice. It was nice. I like the lighting on it.
Lighting was
really
very
cool.
nice.
I didn't like the heat.
No, the heat.
The
sucked.
Tobin Center
The heat was bad.
heating issue is probably not going to work for me. Just they need to find a way to keep it cooler in their outside.
We'll paint
stage.
the picture. We'll paint the picture. We were there for this first Saturday that it was open. It had opened on Wednesday, and then we were there on, was it Friday or Saturday?
It was a Saturday.
Saturday, yeah. It
Yeah.
was a Saturday. So we were there for Saturday's performance. However, we were not indoors for Jason Mraz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were outdoors.
We were kind, weren't we, Michael?
So was I. I went to the front door just the same as you guys and was like, "I'm here for Nina Diaz," and the guy said, "In the backyard, Mexican."
Damn.
That's how it felt.
All I know is that Rick showed up and I was in shorts and a t-shirt, ready to go, and he's in jeans, and I'm like, "Oh, is this like a nice place?" He's like, "It's like the Majestic Theater." So the first thing I'm thinking is,
Cold.
Majestic's just a nice place. I
Yeah.
knew it would be warm anyway, but well, it's a really nice place, so I better go change. So I go up there and put on a collared shirt, short sleeve, and then my jeans, and lo and behold, you arrive in your shorts and t-shirt. But I'm like, well, that's par for the course for Mario, so he'll be underdressed, and Rick and I are good to go. And then what do we find when we walk up to the front doors of the Tobin Center?
98
Like,
degrees.
Jason Mraz? And we're like, no. Yours is around the side, and then
In the backyard,
It's-
right by the river.
outdoor in the pure heat. No shade, no way
None.
to escape.
You would
Concrete
think they would have built
underfoot.
that in. Yeah.
Didn't Rick get a picture of my
I did.
my back
I
sweat?
wish I still. I think
Oh,
I
you did?
deleted it, but
That's
I wish I
unfortunate, because that was amazing.
We should post
That could have been
We should
this
tweet
week's
it. We should twat it.
episode cover.
Yes, seriously.
Back
It was so hot.
But
It was,
yeah, that
it
was
was.
oppressive, as they say, that heat. And it would have been nice. I mean, it was cool.
It was humid too. I mean, it wasn't.
It was
just
everything.
hot.
It was everything that's wrong with this city, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole entire event.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
The problem with the local music scene is the heat.
Is the heat. That's what keeps people
for
away.
outdoor shows. Yes, I can imagine that.
Yeah, we need an air-conditioned dome over our town.
Well, and that's the one thing I will say. I did enjoy the architecture. However, getting the shiny side of the building right at us with the angle of the sun, that probably didn't help. We baked.
No,
I'm sure we baked for a little bit.
that was a little much.
Well, you guys baked for a little bit, then you took off, and then you came back and baked a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
And by baked you mean like just scorching in the SA
Yes.
heat. Yes.
Yes, no, not
we
smoking
didn't
marijuana
get baked.
Right.
out by the river. No.
No, we went
No,
to
not
go
at all.
eat expensive sandwiches that were eaten on a stoop next to bum shit.
And almost tossed up during the show.
Yeah. Yep.
It took us an hour to go and come back and scarf our food
Like
down.
3
We
blocks away.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, what's
it did
funny
take
is
a
we
long
got
time.
to the restaurant, this little restaurant, a deli or whatever, and we walk up and we're like, oh, we can probably sit outside because there's plenty of seating everywhere.
Yeah.
And we go inside and there's plenty of seating inside. And we say, hey, what do you 2? She goes, oh, the wait's an hour. And there was like empty seats in front of us and outside. We're like, well, can we do to go? And they're like, yeah, you can order to go. And
It's
that
still an
took
hour.
probably 30 to 40 minutes to get our to go food. So that's how things started.
And you missed all of it. One of the enjoyable things that I love about going to local shows is bumping into people I know. And while you guys were gone, I bumped into like 15 people that I know, and it was kind of cool. I felt semi-important, and you guys weren't there to share that with me, and I was kind of sad.
Good. Now we'll never believe you.
I know.
Believe you,
well, actually, you don't have to believe me. You can check out the pictures on mysa.com, and you can check out the pictures on the Current's website as well.
What's the Current?
The Current, the San Antonio Current.
What's that? Is that
It's a local magazine. Pretty popular. Got wide distribution around San Antonio. Rick is not peeing. He's pouring himself some more Crown.
Is that like the Thrifty Nickel?
No, you can't advertise for cars in there. Porn shops advertise in there. But
I heard the other day there was a commercial for the Megaplex on, and they was like tying it into football. Right? They were talking about like somehow tying it into football somehow. But they're like, the Megaplex, the only place in town where illegal use of the hands is encouraged.
What?
Do you believe that? Like, that sounds illegal for real, right? Like, why is that part of your advertising?
It's a porn shop. I mean, they don't have...
But do they still have the theaters where you can, like, go in and
I don't know.
be disgusting?
But isn't, like, by, like, admission of what they're saying illegal use of the hands is encouraged, meaning we encourage you to do
somebody.
Illegal things.
That can't be okay. No. Wow. Mario, what would we do without you?
Man? Oh, that was all whiskey. Oh, I forgot to put the Red Bull in it. Oh, good, man. Lord, here, taste some of that.
Jeez.
There's a little bit of Red Bull in it. Fuck nuts.
A smidgen?
Wow.
Oh, God. Okay.
That's legit.
But, anyway, so back to the Tobin Center. So the Tobin Center, it used to be, I mean, they kind of renovated and redid what used to be the municipal
and built
auditorium.
Yeah.
And now it's this, like, really amazing kind of what I assume is a world-class performing arts center, which is great.
I think so.
Which is a really good
Although we
thing.
didn't get to go inside at all, so
yeah,
I have no idea what it looks like.
Yeah, that's all
aside from the
because,
windows. That we could look in.
Free tickets only get you so close to the building, apparently.
They get you back lawn access.
Bill Cosby's playing there, so that's a Paul McCartney.
Cosby sweater.
Paul McCartney, Loudon Wainwright.
So why don't we talk about our full Tobin experience, including some of our theoretical things that I had us do.
First I got to do the shout out to the people that I did get to see
Paul
there.
McCartney's
okay, I'll be back.
He's a Leatherface. He's like
Leatherface.
Leatherface.
Of course,
Paul McCartney checks his Chainsaw Massacre.
That'll be part of the discussion later. I think we have Paul McCartney on that list. No, for like. Wow. So I bumped into the bass player from Slow Like Fire, my buddy Lalo. I bumped into Jaime Ramirez, who is part of the new Nina Diaz Solo Project band. Also the bass player from Pop Pistol, George. Miles, a.k.a. Punk Soda. Is that Pork Soda? No, you know why?
Is that Primus
That's
album?
Primus. That's why. It always pops into my head first. Punk Soda, who was one of our musicians at the 210 Toys for Tots event. He was there and ran into somebody that I used to work with at an old job. And
the
one that had the really low cut shirt. Yeah, the really tall one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That guy was handsome. And then
I think that's pretty much it. Of course, Nina and Fonnie and Jen were there, and of course, Face Radel and Jimmy Mendiola. The usual suspects. So, just wanted to do a brief shout out.
So we missed them. We didn't get to say hi to them.
Missed all of them.
I was eating my my turkey sandwich with raspberries.
I forgot I didn't have a sandwich. I had that burger.
Yeah,
it was huge.
It was mine was gross. It was gross good. It's like when you eat an entire bag, like a half-pound bag of M&Ms. It's good, but
have you seen
you want to die afterwards?
Have you seen the mint M&Ms?
No,
that are out. Oh man,
no.
They're actually pretty good.
Are they?
I'm serious.
Are they seasonal?
I don't know.
Or is it a new thing?
I don't know, but I was
mint
impressed.
M&Ms.
Someone at work had a bag and had a few, and I was impressed. What?
Are mint M&Ms? Are they like Andy's quality M&Ms, or does it just that tastes like mint? Well,
Andy's. It's high class. You're right.
It's high class mint, dude. That's
anything that comes in its own wrapper is high class.
That is the best.
Right, Laffy Taffy? Right.
Like fortune cookies? Those are individually wrapped?
Condoms.
Most of those are
flavored condoms.
Apparently, Rick eats condoms.
It's like calamari.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like
kind of
octopus penis.
All right, so rolling right.
No, but are the mint M&Ms? Do they have chocolate still, or is it just
no? They're chocolate.
So the shell is the mint part.
I think so. It's just flavored. I was impressed.
But I'm imagining like someone like me, like doing what I normally do, which is eating loudly and with my mouth open and like all wet, and coming up and like eating next to your face, and you being like, "God, it's gross," and me going, "No, it's mint."
No, I think it's fine.
It's fine.
I don't think they work like that. They're not as potent as you think they might be. You need to give them a shot.
Welcome to the Candy Store on NPR. I gotta try those. I like different, unusual kind of like the Hershey's Kisses that are peppermint during Christmas time. Oh my god, I love those.
I've started like trying out all the different Snickers. I haven't actually had a normal Snickers. I ate the almonds one now, the almond one,
really?
And the peanut butter ones.
I haven't had the almond one. I gotta try that.
Pretty good. There's a dark chocolate I haven't tried, and there's a 3X that was only around for a little while. It's like 3 times the chocolate. It's called the 3X.
It's called the Ray J.
3 times the dark chocolate.
Oh, wow.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so let's talk about
I don't either, but it's funny.
Let's talk about some of the questions that we were posing that night at Tobin between sets.
Okay. Well, first of all, we
was
we
it
got to
between
see
sets, or would we say during? Between sets, you're right, Mario. You're right.
It was between songs. Between songs.
Yeah, before we get to that, though, like, we did get to... I mean, we were lucky enough to actually get to see a couple of Texas artists.
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely.
We got to see David Garza, Lonely Horse, and Nina Diaz Solo Project.
Yeah, and David Garza, I've seen him a couple of times. I got to say, I really enjoyed the first half of his performance. It was really awesome. It was really awesome. Unfortunately, you guys made it back by the second half, so then I totally didn't even get to pay attention. Because you were too busy telling me, I want to puke up my sandwich.
You know, like, David Garza, you got a chance to see him before, right?
Yeah, we saw him in Austin way back when.
At the Stubbs, we were talking about that.
Yep.
Now, David Garza, we've talked about this, because the first time you saw him was opening at the Guadalupe Cultural Arts opening for Girl in Coma. And I remember that's the first time I had seen him in years. And I remember that, honestly, the whole reason I went was to see him. Is like, definitely, like, on my list of favorite Texas artists.
Yeah.
And... back in the day, like, when he was he was, he came out, I think he was from Irving, but then he moved to Austin to go to UT, and he had a solo thing, and then he had a band, and then he kind of broke off from the band and started doing his solo thing again, and that's when he got kind of noticed. He got picked up on, I think, Lava Atlantic or whatever, and he put out an album. Actually, he put out an EP, then he put out this Euphoria. When it was, like, one of those albums that, like, it should have been the album. You know what I mean? It should have been like his Nevermind or his 10 or whatever. You know what I mean? It was the album that should have kind of launched his career. And it's funny because, you remember, Mike, the Best Buy commercial?
Yes.
There was a Best Buy commercial with him. And this is back when Best Buy gave a shit about anything.
Local music.
Anything in general.
Oh, well, yeah.
They don't care about anything except selling washers now. Yeah, he did this commercial where they played part of one of the main singles off the album, and he's playing it live, and then at the end of the commercial he stops and he goes, "I'm David Garza, you don't know me, but you will." And it was such a fucking badass thing because it was backed up. Like, it was a brilliant album. It was so different from everything else that was coming out at that time. But obviously it had enough qualities of popular music that it wasn't just out of left field, but it was just a really cool kind of amalgamation of different styles. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing that commercial and being really like, yeah, man, this guy's gonna take off. He's gonna be one of those guys who, before you know, it's gonna be this huge monster rock star.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of had his brushes. He had a couple of he was on like the Great Expectations soundtrack. He was on the soundtrack to that. I think it was like that Trekkies movie or something. And
Great Expectations.
Yeah, he had a Slave.
Ethan Hawke?
Yeah.
Nice.
He had a song called Slave in that, which is like an incredible freaking song.
I love that movie.
Song. And And he, I think, opened for Matchbox 20 on a tour, toured with some decent people. And anyways, my point is, back when we got to see him during that time period, he had a really super tight live band. Him, the lead guitarist, the drummer, a bassist, and they were fucking tight. They were just really, really great band, really good at improvising. And so I was surprised that last time I saw him, and then this time, and Mike, I mean, chime in whenever, I was surprised seeing him this time because, I mean, it's been quite a few years since I saw him in that heyday, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was a little, I was a little surprised because it was just him playing with the guitar. I mean, like, Mike, what'd you think? What'd you think about it?
As far as just seeing him play by himself with no band, with just the guitar, well, obviously it's an amazing thing to see an artist do that anyway. That's, it takes incredible gusto to just get out there and play music that might typically normally lend itself to needing accompanying instruments and just totally go for it stripped out.
Yeah.
But so from like a respect point of view, I mean, I thought it was really awesome just to see him go out there raw and just literally plug straight into the amp and just, hack away at the guitar. But that's a good example of, like, for me, just the power that comes behind David Garza's songwriting shows itself best with the full band. Like Rick said, the band that, is capable of playing everything really, really well, really tightly, structured, and just has all these different flowing parts accompanying each other really well. So it was neat to see him like that, but obviously I would love to see him in his full, in his full breadth of capabilities with the full band. So not that it was bad, just not. That's probably, like, if I knew he was hitting another show like that, I don't know that as much as I love him and I was motivated to see him, I don't know that I'd jump out of my chair to go and see like that, just because his type of music, it's, or maybe it'd be better if you had an acoustic guitar than just, strumming away the electric guitar that's just completely unassisted by, a little bit of bass and some of the depth and texture you need from the drums and stuff like that. But I don't know. I
mean, he did have Fonny drop on the drums for a song.
Yeah, that's right. That was
pretty decent.
Duet,
it was pretty good, right? Yeah.
Or they did like a freestyle song. And then
it was more freestyle,
Yeah. And that's, I'm kind of the same thing. It's like, I'm always happy to see someone who's kind of Texas born still doing their thing and, like, being exposed to a different crowd. I mean, I would imagine, we were probably some of the older people in that crowd. So I imagine a lot of those people haven't had the same exposure that we did when we were younger to them. So I guess as a fan and as like a fan from when I was younger, that's something I guess selfishly I found kind of lacking, because I remember the first time we saw him, I'm like, I can't wait, like, for you to see this guy.
Yeah.
And the way I was describing him to you, like the style and the show, wasn't what you saw, and you were kind of like, oh, it's good, I don't get it. And I was like, no, there's like, and it's almost like, and I can almost, and I don't know, I mean, I wish I knew the guy. I wish he was sitting here right now, because I would ask him some of these questions.
I might be able to get him here.
And while you're at it, I want to use one of his songs in a movie, so talk to him about that too.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, I mean, the thing is, like, that style of music that he played, it's fairly timeless, because it's not like, grunge music or dance music or rap music. I mean, it's not that kind of music that kind of comes and goes in its popularity. It's kind of like, more freeform music. I mean, it has a lot of, there is electronic stuff in it, and there's kind of classic rock stuff in it, and there's a lot of, some shades of, like, Jeff Buckley and, other 90s stuff in there.
The first half of his set at Tobin was, like I said, it was really amazing. I was really impressed.
But I mean,
coming from the Guadalupe experience.
Me, like, even if I mean, I realize that in these times, in the times where major labels are kind of going by the wayside and people are more and more having to kind of do-it-yourself type thing, is it's probably cost prohibitive to travel around for one-off shows with a band and pay people and all that thing. So I get the logistical part of it, but, like, so it's like, I'll say, like, if I had the money, if I was rich, I'd be like, let's get you the band. Let's get you a band. Let's play some of these songs. Let's play Slave. Let's play Disco Ball World. Let's play, like, Perfect
I found out he did play Disco Ball World
before we got there.
Yeah, you missed it.
You found out? You didn't hear it? It's an amazing fucking song.
I think I was probably talking with...
Oh, what a jerk. What a jerk.
No,
it's fine. It's fine. You're a jerk. But it's fine. Because it's funny because we're talking about that. We're like...
I was getting after somebody. I was getting after Lalo from Soul Like Fire. He posted a video on Facebook of a... that was very loud. Of a puppy getting backed over by a city vehicle I know. I'm like, I told him,
That's-
I'm like, did the puppy die? He's like, no, the puppy didn't die. I'm like,
Probably want to take that one back. That's
city
gross.
city vehicle. You just indicted the city.
a city vehicle, a city truck. I can't remember who.
I don't know what city it was,
Backed up,
but it
over
was
this tiny
definitely down
little
the street
It was
from me.
definitely a city.
It was a San Antonio city truck.
Now the local PETA organizations
Oh
are
my
going to
God.
come
Now they're
after
It was
gonna-
them.
horrible. Well, it's on.
You're going to be
Facebook.
called
Shoot,
in.
it's
You're going to be
it's on-
subpoenaed. Next thing you know,
It's on YouTube.
Where's this video
You
at?
can find
Subpoenaed.
it on the interwebs. But yeah, I was getting mad at him for that, so that's
Yes.
probably
well.
why
Anyways,
I got
that's
distracted. And,
that's an incredible song. I mean, and to hear it, I mean, that's what he's really good at. Is kind of mutating his songs and doing different versions of them, and which is awesome. I'm always for that, especially seeing stuff like that live and seeing artists change their stuff around.
yeah.
But again, like I would just love at least once to see him like perform like this Euphoria in its entirety,
Yeah.
the way that more or less the way it was recorded, because not just for my own selfish reasons, which it would be,
Yeah.
but to
You think that
have
could put
some
him
of the
back on the
younger
map?
people, even up and coming people, hear it
Yeah.
and realize that that's the kind of like Texas music you can make that sounds completely original and is owing very much to, you know, classical styles and, you know, even Latin American music and kind of blues music and everything else in between, even like, you know, mid-90s grunge music and kind of mixing that on there. And you
Yeah.
can do that and make an original, you know, exciting, fresh sound. So anyway, so that's my commentary on the first band. So
and you were with me at Raw to see Lonely Horse. You hadn't seen them before that,
no,
right?
I hadn't.
So you got to see them there. What was your opinion of them this time at Tobin?
I think they put on a good show. I do. I mean, I think they're two definitely talented guys, and it's always good to see, you know, people have that kind of chemistry between them.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of obviously they feed off the crowd and back and forth because of their style and I mean, I would say, like, you know, there's music that I can listen to live and love it.
Yeah.
And you kind of groove to it and appreciate it, especially with a group of people. And then there's, you know, music that I prefer to listen to on a CD in my car alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that for me, that's more music that I would prefer to hear live in
yeah.
a group setting than necessarily to like
It's not
listen
something
to
you would
it
throw
in
in.
my car. You know,
Yeah.
because it is kind of like that blues infused kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of those kind of throwback elements to like more traditional rock
Yeah.
styles and stuff, but I do love like the minimalism of it. You know, I love the energy behind it, and obviously, especially at the end. I mean, he was crowd surfing and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and
that was cool.
you saw the crowd really getting into it. So, what'd you think, Mike?
I thought it was actually really neat. I was more impressed than I thought I would be as far as just, again, like I said, once again, seeing another band that was
More stripped
this time,
down.
yeah, it was more stripped down. You know, you have already a stripped down drum kit and then just a guitarist, you know, playing electric guitar straight up. And so the first thing you're always wondering is like, well, if there's no bass player, it must be intentional. And to see how much it carried without that, you know, was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, the lead singer had just a ton of energy, and it's always neat
Yeah.
to see guys that have the confidence to just go right at the crowd and, you know, hit you with the music that they've got, which I was actually pretty impressed with, you know, just the influences and stuff like that. When you hear influence, yet you hear creativity and original sound,
Expanding on it, yeah.
pretty awesome. So I was pretty impressed. I thought they played really well, and like Rick said, just really energetic, really good sound. And I would love to see bands like that, you know, unless they're happy being exactly where they are, find a groove where they
can
continue
make it a
to
little bit more.
where they continue to expand their palette, you know, and really try to open up their musicality, you know.
Mhm.
And again, I mean that in a positive way, like just to basically let's hear more, you know.
Oh, yeah.
See, you know, keep
definitely.
it going. So I dug it.
I definitely say that when I saw them at Raw, I enjoyed it. It was my first time seeing them. I had seen their stuff on YouTube. I really enjoyed the energy. At Raw, I was a little bit tuned down. I mean, the sound quality wasn't that amazing, you know. It was at oh God, what's the name of the place? It's
Backstage Live.
Backstage Live.
Backstage Live.
Yeah, and the sound was all right. It wasn't amazing. At Tobin, it sounded like a more natural setting for them. I'll say it that way.
Yeah.
And the whole feel harkened back to Hendrix. Like if Hendrix and the White Stripes had babies. That was that kind of feel. There was intelligence in the music. There was intelligence in the writing. Really true, good artistry. Really heavy Hendrix and that Cherokee and and Hendrix music styles combined kind of groove. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Which brings
yes on the Hendrix. That was definitely.
You know, we even had a conversation.
Definitely could hear that.
Yeah, we even had a conversation where I was like, this guy. I hope I'm saying his name in the right order because it's Michael Johnny Long or Johnny Michael Long, the lead singer. To me, I was like, that guy could play Hendrix in a movie. And then you told me, who was it?
Andre 3000.
I'm like, what? No.
Yeah.
And then you showed me a picture. I'm like, holy crap, that is the guy.
I had to IMDb that on your ass.
Yeah, you did. And I got to see that. But what put me in the mood to see it was Lonely Horse. And I hadn't really been in the mood to jam out to Hendrix in a few years, actually. It's been at least 5 years, 6 years.
That's something that I do find interesting and a cool thing is sometimes, like, I know in the past, like, seeing live bands or local live bands back when I was younger, when I used to do that more. I remember, like, there was bands that stuck out to me that were, you know, pretty original and pretty kind of had their finger on the pulse of what was kind of exciting at that moment. And I remember, like, even, you know, the same way that, I guess, younger bands can be influenced by older bands and more established bands, I remember, like, seeing some of these younger bands and in turn them kind of turning me back on to bands that they kind of reminded me of in a good way. Right. You know, one of my favorite local bands probably that I've ever heard from San Antonio that I really wish would have, I thought would have got, you know, a lot bigger was the Cinderleaf. And like me and a friend of ours, Arnie, would always go check them out, and they were just a great live band, really great songs. And it was the same thing, like they were kind of their time, but they were always constantly changing too. I mean, it wasn't like they were stuck in a style of music. They would kind of, you know, change their style as they got older and the music matured and stuff, and not genre hopping, but just maturing, I would say. Right. But they were really in that kind of on that cusp of that time frame when, like, Jimmy Eat World was getting big and, like, that type of thing, and that they kind of had that vibe. And I remember that. I remember thinking, like, you know, if Jimmy Eat World kind of came out, like, I'm like, why can't these guys get there too? Because they weren't in any way, like, they weren't guys riding on the coattails of that. You know what I mean? These guys were just kind of coming up at the same time and influenced by the same type of music, you know, older, like, you know, post-punk, like, emo stuff or whatever, you know? And it just, you know, but again, that's what I mean. Like, it was kind of this symbiotic thing where I remember it got me more into, like, you know, into Jimmy Eat World and vice versa. And I got to, like, kind of appreciate it. So it's like when I didn't get to see them live, I would go listen to, like, similar bands, or I would listen to their album. They had their I think one of the, I don't know if it was their first proper album, they did an album called What If I Can't Shine, which I absolutely love. And I still listen to it to this day. I listen to it all the time. It's just a great, for me, like, it's a very, like, important touchstone for not only, like, a point in my life, but musically, it's just a great, you know, it throws off all kinds of different vibes and feelings that, you know, that,
you got to put that in the drop. I want to check that out.
Yeah. It's good, though. It's really good.
Which one was that?
The Cinderleaf's album. That What If I Can't Shine. And you saw them.
I have that CD.
Yeah.
Where the it's the white CD, right? With just the name Cinderleaf in it, in, like, light green.
That was the one after that. No, you're right. Yes, that is it. That is
fantastic.
Take it back. Yeah, that is it. Because they had come out with a couple of full lengths during that time period. Like I said, like, I've, you know, unfortunately not as up on local music as I was when I was younger, but I know they'd kind of come out with 3 or 4 albums kind of right after each other that were just incredible albums, and the production got better and better, songwriting got better and better, and you know, it's always awesome. I mean, and swinging it back around to what you're talking about, Lonely Horse, is having that type of local band, homebred band, where they do have this creativity and originality, but there's just enough of this element of
harkening back to
harkening to popular music or older music, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a great thing, because the reality is, for, like, you know, the larger music, you know, consuming audience, you have to have that for something to be really, like, marketable and kind of commercially viable. And in this day and age, that's important. Whether you're on a major label or whether you're doing it yourself, you need something to connect it. And I get it. You know, there's some people that make music that's just like, I don't give a shit what people think, and I don't care what it sounds like, and I'm just following my muse, and that's fine. That's great. Yeah. But if you're actually trying to say, like, I want to sell albums, and I want, you know, to do this for a living, and to be able to go beyond you know, whatever it is, the limits I've set for myself, and go beyond that and get bigger and get to a wider audience. I think, you know, even if it's subconscious, like, you know, that shows through, and you see that, like, in bands that really kind of come into their own, you can see at least the DNA of influences, and that's never a bad thing. Like in terms of like their, you know, copying someone's style or like kind of just following in the footsteps of someone else. No, but I mean, you know, we all are influenced. You know, especially guys of, you know, guys, girls, people of our age group. I mean, obviously, we all kind of grew up in the same time where, you know, we're all probably equally affected by Nirvana and Nine Inch Nails and Pearl Jam and Metallica, and it's like, you know, sometimes people kind of try to rise above that, like, oh, well, I wasn't into that stuff, and I was listening to some bullshit 7-inch that no one cares about. But it's not real. Like,
it's still informed part of who you are, whether you realize it or not. Yeah,
you couldn't escape those songs in that time period. I remember reading an article back when, like, Creed was, like, kind of popular. You know, like, after My Own Prison, that album came out, like...
you know, for all the crap that people give Creed, I mean, I still... yes, it all sounds the same eventually. It all sounds like the same song, but they had some good stuff that, like, it's listenable. It's still... Oh,
there was a couple songs. I mean, I was saying, I mean, they were kind of a douchey band, and I you know, very high on themselves. But I mean, there was a couple songs that, you know, My Own Prison, perfect example. People hate that, and I'm not going to sit here and defend it, but I still appreciate that song. I still like that song. You know, and I for me, I can tie it specifically to a point in my youth, you know what I mean? So it always kind of brings back certain memories. But I remember reading an article, like, I think when they were coming here, one of the times they played here, I think it was at they played at Live Oak Civic Center.
Oh yeah,
and actually,
which is now gone.
That's the only really.
It's been torn down.
Wow,
it's now a Burger King and a wing place.
No more gun shows, huh?
No, yeah, exactly. Or exotic pets.
Yeah,
pet shows or. Yeah.
I remember seeing them there. I'm trying to remember who opened for them. I can't remember. But anyways, there was an article, like, in The Weekender about Scott Stapp, and he was saying how, like, you know, he grew up in this, like, really strict Baptist upbringing or something, and he couldn't listen to music and couldn't. It's like he's like from the fucking Footloose town or something. And I remember him and then being like, "Well, are you influenced by any of the stuff that's popular now? You know, or Pearl Jam or Nirvana?" And he was like, "Oh no, I never listened to music growing up. I never listened to popular music. I just do my own thing." And that was kind of like the beginning of that bullshit of, like, come on, dude, like, you guys owe everything to Pearl Jam and Metallica. Yeah. Like, that's just in Alice in Chains.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, I forgot what that song is. Not My Own Prison, but there's the other song. I think it's called Ode. I don't know. Whatever the other song they play on Kiss all the time. It sounds like an Alice in Chains song. Yeah. A good one, that's fine. A very good, serviceable version of an Alice. You know, but it's like that stuff sometimes doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And it's okay to admit that. It's okay to go, I like music. That's the worst thing for me. Yeah. Like, is when you have, like, artists, whether they're musicians or artists or writers or filmmakers or whatever, and they say, "Oh, I don't absorb any kind of
that's
art.
Bullshit. People don't exist in a vacuum.
I don't watch movies. I don't listen to art. I just sit in my room and do my art." Like, no. Like, that doesn't work like that. Because one, it's too hard to not absorb anything.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, everybody wants to find their own voice and their own creativity and kind of to follow their own muse, but I mean, it's hard for me to swallow that someone says, "Oh, I don't listen to music."
Yeah.
I only listen to, like, the Beatles, man. That's all I listen to. I don't listen to anything in the last 20 years. Like, I don't believe that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't believe it. Especially when a band sounds like a band that came out 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I remember years ago we went and saw a band at White Rabbit. I don't even know what they were called. Probably not having around anymore. And I remember they were playing this music, and it wasn't bad, but it was of the time. You know, late 90s, early 2000s. And
Scooter.
They were playing a couple of songs, and they were decent. And before this next song, the guy's like, "Hey, it's our next song, but you know, I want to say this, that, like, we wrote this song a long time ago, just so you guys know." I was like, "Okay, I don't know who you are, anyways. I don't care." Well, they bust into this song, and it sounds very much like that Higher song by Creed.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds very, very, very similar, which is fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care. That's a good enough song. Yeah. Whatever. I mean, in terms of just it being catchy and it's got a long shelf life. but they were aware of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we wrote this song first. Like, maybe you did, fine, but like, whatever. That's the fucking, unless you're like Marvin Gaye's kids and you want to sue everybody for fucking stealing, your dad's farts, then.
But you also have to.
fuck
there's a two side to me. There's a two side to that. So that song in particular, to me is one of those things that like it could have been created by any other band at any other time within that like 5 or 6 years.
It's from the guff of grunge music.
Like any of the popular bands during that time could have put that song out, and it wouldn't matter. It would be the same. It would be identical. So that's one part of it. The second part of it is for a local band. I kind of get where they're wanting to be like, we wrote this first. Like this was ours first. We don't, because they don't want that image being tarnished by. They're like, look, it's a really good song. We love it. Obviously, it follows so close to this other song that's a huge hit that it's viable to us still. But we want to remind people that we're not stealing. I get that. I understand that. So yeah, I don't think it was wrong of him. I just think maybe there probably have been a better way to put it than maybe. Or
but it's funny because all these years later, that's what I remember about that.
Yeah,
I don't remember what the song was called. I don't remember the name of the band or. Anything. I remember that moment. I'm going, yeah, I know why you said that. Because, yes, it sounds exactly like the song that comes on the radio 40 fucking times a day. Yeah. And that's fine. That's fine, because that guy's crazy. The Creed guy, he's in a porn.
He's rich.
He's in a porn. He got arrested for having machine guns and having a fucking standoff with the cops. He looks like a fucking Montgomery Moose. Like, fuck that guy. That's fine. Like, those guys would be beyond him by now. You know what I mean? I hope they are. Wherever they are, I hope you guys... Maybe it was Coldplay. That's who we were watching at White Rabbit that one night. I don't know. Before they had bad teeth.
So that brings us to our final Nina Diaz Solo Project. I gotta say, first off, I was pleasantly surprised and impressed. I think that musically she surrounded herself with some really good people for this project. One of them I went to high school with, Jaime Ramirez, who was on keys and backup vocals, and I think he was playing another instrument. I didn't get to I don't know if he was doing it at the show. I know I saw him do it on one of their YouTubes or Instagrams, where it's like the pipe that you blow into and it's attached to the little keyboard. Have you seen those?
What's that, Mike? Not the vocoder?
Is it? I don't know.
What's that thing called?
Yeah. Is that a vocoder? Anyway, point being, I think they pulled a lot of interesting. They pulled from a lot of different resources. They didn't use a similar format for each of their songs. Each of their songs had its own feel, its own groove, its own appeal, its own roots. I think every song had its own life, independent. I think that's my takeaway from it was that was primarily something I got to enjoy that I'm not used to with a lot of local bands. Yeah. Not every local band, of course, but I mean, just there's some of them pigeonhole themselves into where it's like, okay, same thing like Creed. It's like
style.
Every song, yeah.
You say Creed?
Creed.
Yeah. You missed it, baby. We were talking about Creed at length. About their attributes.
I missed a Creed discussion?
Their platinum certifications. Their music in a vacuum.
We Wikipedia'd them. Yeah.
We actually updated their Wikipedia page while you were gone.
Yeah. Wow.
And it says Mike Benavides, Mike's favorite band.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So what are your thoughts on we're talking about the Nina Diaz solo stuff. What do you think about that as opposed to the Girl in a Coma stuff you heard?
So if I'm just doing a straight comparison from In a Coma to solo, it was neat to see the musical influence of other musicians coming together and bringing that stuff, because I think we talked about this that night, how vocally it seemed to be kind of in the same vein as far as what Nina does with Coma. So I think there was a lot more room for stretching that maybe, I mean, I assume this is what you always kind of assume since, we don't have all of the intel when someone that's part of a band goes into a solo setting on their own. It's typically to find space for music that might not have had room in the present, setting of their band, and it kind of gives them a chance to stretch their wings a little bit, just so that it doesn't, deviate from the. I don't really know what I'm saying, because it's kind of one of those things where, for me, like if I was in a band if I had a song that's an acoustic song and an electric guitar song and another one that's an electronic EDM song, I'd put it all on the same flag because I'm the one writing it. So, but that's probably why I'm not a musician, because, you know, I guess you're supposed to sort of compartmentalize those things in different places. But I think more than her not being able to play certain music with the girls might just be that it was a chance to collaborate with other musicians, which I think maybe sometimes can give you a whole new breath of fresh air, which it seemed to be like from what we saw, because especially having a keyboard, you know, that really adds just those extra layers of depth and atmosphere to the music, gave it some extra textures to, you know, a familiar Nina sound, but with a totally different, you know, backing sound. So I was pretty impressed. I thought it was really well, and of course that gigantic screen looked really pretty. Yeah, and
with the Mac background,
the visual
screen. It looked like they were just showing off that $1 million screen. So that looked cool.
That was a beautiful screen.
It was, right?
I just wish they would have used it for actual video capture.
Yeah, we talked about that. It would be nice if they just done a live, some live shots of the show and showing it off that way. That'd been interesting.
The Radiohead live show, the last one that I went to, was probably, I think, a year or two ago. They have something like, I want to say close to like 50 square screens, all in different positions, just completely above the band.
Yeah.
And again, these are arena shows, so they have the space to do that. But there's like the screens are all, some are tilted forward, some are tilted sideways, some are trapezoidal. I mean, but all of the screens
are in the right orientation.
Would either have random visuals showing up, and then would have close-ups of like Tom York's face or Colin's face, or it would be a top-down view of like the pedal board, or an up view of like the drum set. Just all completely different variances of the band playing it. Some were pulled-out shots, you know, from zoomed out. Some were zoomed right in. One square screen. I'd say each screen was probably. I mean, I'm assuming because of the depth perception, I'm saying like maybe, let's say like 4 by 4 feet. Something like that for each square, you know, so they're pretty sizable. But, you know, some of them you would see, you know, just the strumming of a guitar. It was fascinating to see stuff like that. And I'm like, sometimes that's more powerful than trying to put on this live show with all these different visuals and effects and lighting schemes, whatever. Just, it feels like you're live at a show, and yet you're somehow still behind the scenes, because the one thing you don't get to be a part of in the live shows is what they're doing to make the sound come out, especially if you're seating really far away. You can barely see anything that's happening. You're just sort of listening, like the nail show that we were at in Austin. You know, there's nail shows we've been at where we're right up on the front, and then that one was probably the furthest I've ever been, period. You know, and so with the Tobin Center, you know, seeing the headlining band for Nina Solo band, you know, it was pretty cool to see. Obviously it was dark now and it wasn't as hot and stuff like that, but that giant screen, even if it was just a bunch of, it looked like Apple screensavers. If it was them,
fractal theme.
Yeah, it looked. I'm saying that to compliment the band. I don't think that they would have put that stuff up as theirs. It was probably just kind of hey, let's have something on. If I'm wrong, then that's...
it's better than that.
Hey, Mike, our graphic design guy spent $400 million putting those together. My bad.
I'm just glad it wasn't the logos for Do 210 and what was the other one? The cab.
Oh yeah, those were on the whole time.
Squirt.com.
Yeah.
What? No, like the taxi ride. Uber. Yeah.
Uber.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing wrong with that, but like during your performance, I would expect something. David Garza was even like, "Oh, so I guess I'm promoting these guys."
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they could have done something better with that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the thing is too. I mean, what's awesome is, I mean, obviously, like with what we kind of at this point now, like, you know, what the new Tobin Center was designed for is really to attract national artists. You know,
and
really
they're doing it,
and which is great. But it's great in that setting to see them, you know, showcasing live local artists, Texas people, and I mean, even on that side,
I'll take the backyard.
Stage, I mean, it was great.
That's fine.
I mean, it was cool, in which we noticed and we kind of made, you know, kind of some fun of. It was that there was some other type of event going on. It wasn't the Jason Mraz thing. In between that, it looked like there was a wedding or something happening.
Oh, really?
And there was quite a number of people watching.
Oh, yeah.
The show we were at from indoors.
In the nice air conditioning.
And they're sitting there watching the Nina Diaz show, the Lonely Horse, David Garza. And that's cool. You know what I mean? Because you're exposing people one way or another to local stuff to live stuff, and sitting there and seeing them play in front of a crowd of, I imagine, 800 people or 500 people or whatever it was. That's awesome. Because, I mean, and you've talked about that before here, and then, in your 210 Local Music podcast about local venues and giving local artists, whether they be, performance artists or musicians or filmmakers, whatever, the venues to put on their art.
Yeah.
And that was a really good, I imagine that's part of the kind of larger tie-in of what they were trying to do, was to kind of show that you can put on one of these events in this space and have people show up, have people spend money, have people appreciate it, have people advertise it, and, to really show what it can do. I mean, it was great once the sun went down,
Yeah.
It was great seeing that beautiful building and those LED lights kind of coming on and off, and seeing that gigantic, massive, awesome HD screen.
Yeah.
And it just gives you an idea of what the things that were probably in store for. Stuff that, whether it's film screenings or performance art or visual art or other bands. I mean, that's great. I mean, it only opens a million doors, hopefully, for the art in this city and everything that so many people in this town are working towards to try to.
I think it was a good shot in the arm. I think it was a good shot in the arm. I think we could stand to use at least maybe 2 or more, 3 or more of those. I think it's a step in the right direction. I would love to see a local band get to play indoors at the Tobin. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, I imagine it's massive.
Yeah.
I mean, because even when we went seeing a show at the Lila Cockerel, which is when we saw Pussifer there.
Right.
That's a pretty incredible venue.
Right.
Great concert. I still think about that concert.
And the Majestic, the Lila Cockerel. I mean, you have those venues that are just great venues, but I mean, Mike, when we saw Pussifer at the Long Theater, right, in Austin, I mean, it wasn't a huge difference from seeing them at the Lila Cockerel in terms. I mean, it was the same show,
right?
But I mean, in terms of the quality, the sound quality, the visual quality, it was probably. Was it on par? I mean, would you say it's pretty close? You know what I mean?
I think so.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. That's a great thing for this town. I mean, did you get to see? You saw Eddie Vedder there?
Yeah.
How was that? I didn't get to see
Incredible. That was Glenn Hansard and Eddie Vedder together.
Did they do
yes.
Falling Slowly together? Nice.
Yes, they did. No, it was incredible, and the sound acoustics were flawless, and I just thought it was an amazing show, and he he busted out the electric again, played some of that solo stuff like that, but Eddie sounded incredible there, Pussifer sounded incredible there, and I mean, I think we've got a lot of venues here that not just have the size and the architecture, but that extra it factor, which is just the sound acoustics, where you walk away feeling like you had the whole sonic experience is on par with some of the bigger places.
And I think that's what's
here.
missing. I think that's what's missing for local bands here is the sound. I mean, really, there's a handful of places that I go to, and there's a handful of places that I avoid because of the sound. I mean, I hear bad stuff coming from some places that I've never been, and I don't plan on going anytime soon, no matter who goes to play there. And I got to say, I feel bad for doing that, but I want a good experience. I want a 502 bar experience. Right. I mean, the sound that night at the 210 Toys for Tots event was spectacular.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
That's the biggest thing. If you're gonna have,
you go to the Rabbit,
yeah.
Oh
hey, the Rabbit's almost finished. You hear about that?
Yeah,
sold.
Yeah, you guys
family
sold
it.
That's.
I'm excited about that.
So when does that go through, or when does that finalize?
I think it's still in process. I think the deal is done, but the family still has it for a little while longer.
Because I know that I was looking today at a band that I really liked quite a few years ago. Was actually we got back together. Not a local band, a band called Finch. You remember them?
Oh yeah.
And they're actually playing there October 29th, I think. And I got to see them once.
I think that's under the new management.
I got to see them once at a Warped Tour out at Verizon with Arnie, and I was really happy to see them live because I thought their first album was incredible. I didn't care too much for their second album, but their first album is just really, really incredible. And so it'd be cool to catch them before that place is a parking lot or
no, it's still going to be a music venue
or whatever it is.
They're still going to keep it a music venue. They're just going to open it up more. They're going to try to get bigger national acts. I think they're going to try to revamp it.
I mean, that's the thing. I think you've talked about that, and we've talked about that some. That the better venue you can have, the better it is for everybody. Because, yeah, that's fine. If you attract more national acts, that's great. But, you're not going to have a national act selling that place out every night.
Yeah.
Which means that gives local bands opportunities to get in there and play in a nice venue with great sound and really show people, the full spectrum of what they can do. Because you're right, a lot of times there's venues that are kind of subpar.
Well, what's going on with that place that Sam's Burger Joint bought? What's it called?
The Aztec.
Aztec, yeah. What's going on with that?
I don't know.
I haven't gotten to keep up with that.
I'm not sure either.
The Aztec Theater downtown, right there by St. Mary's, off St. Mary's.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think it's the same
Sam's
thing.
Burger Joint bought them
they're going to
out.
do a music venue type place.
They're going to open it up probably, too.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, like, and I realize there's, I don't know how all that works, but I realize there's a, some cost prohibition there in terms of, you can't be like, oh, some local band's going to play the Majestic every night. You have to pay the sound people. Yeah, I get that. But, I think just as much as those people, those people that run some of these higher end venues, just as much as they want to make a dollar and make their operating budget and bring in, kind of prestige artists, I think, they do kind of owe it to the city to, give opportunities for local artists to play on these beautiful stages, these beautiful sounds systems, and these beautiful lighting systems,
I agree.
and give, not just, like I said, I don't know the intricacies of how that works. I know there's unions, and I know there's people that are employed by them or not or whatever, but if you have a show there every night, and I know that's might be cost prohibitive, but to give people opportunities to get in there and play their music, and to have up and coming sound designers or lighting designers get in there and have an opportunity to work with that type of equipment and that type of scenario, or be mentored by people. I don't know.
I think it would have a big impact.
How the inner workings of that stuff, but
but the impact of it, I think I think it's like it's like having fighter pilots that only train in Cessnas finally get into a Tomcat and be like, oh, this is what it's about. I think you're right. I think that should be something that the city kind of does, or the organizations that are doing this kind of give back to. I would love to see that kind of thing. I don't know. And as far going back to what Mike was saying about Nina, I agree with you that her voice is very similarly used as in Girl in Coma. I think it's her voice to me is unmistakable.
Right.
You hear it,
right.
But I think she's kind of one of those vocalists who, in a similar way as if you hear Maynard James Keenan in Tool, and you hear him in Pucifer, and you hear him in oh my God, my brain just went blank. Perfect Circle. Thank you. No matter which one, no matter which one you hear him, and it's him. I think Nina's kind of in that same vein with regard to that. I think no matter what type of style she sings or which band she's got backing her up, it's unmistakably gonna be Nina Diaz. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a signature because she's got that kind of female crooner voice.
Yeah, I just wish they would have called her solo project. Girl not in a coma. Girl awakened from a coma. But that's just me. Hey, so at the Aztec Theaters, I'm looking at the website, and they're fully functional, man. And Mike, you'll be very, very, very excited to know that on the 20th of September, which is only a few short days away, that Limp Bizkit will be playing there.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. I've actually seen them live one time when Moses... Rest in peace. Mm-hmm. He and I went to the Family Values tour at the Dome.
I got to see Filter.
I got to see Filter. I got to see Primus. I got to see Stained.
Yeah,
and
that's right. I would have loved to have seen that.
It was actually a really, really great show. Actually, just hearing Wes Borland play guitar live was awesome.
Yeah.
Fred Durst was a complete everything you would expect out of him. But actually, wasn't he one of the guys we were talking about that we would go back in time and not have?
So. Yeah,
who was that? I didn't have a problem with the man, but
I think that was my pick.
That was Michael's pick. So we also, in between songs, in between sets, whatever, while we were old manning it back in the seated areas, which were just like long cement benches, which were still beautiful, and they didn't hurt my ass as much as I thought they would. But we were talking about I don't even remember how we got started on it, but just questions to each other as far as what was the first one, Michael?
The first thing I think was if you could
absorb someone's talent. Was that one of them?
I think it was if one of us, if any all three of us could pick an artist, one person, and take their
talent from
their
them.
ability and their talent, which would then mean they never had it. So if you
kind of nullify their existence at
right,
the same time.
but you have the capability to write every song they've written and then also be as creative as you want to be with their brain.
Mm-hmm.
I think was our first little what if.
So what was your answer to that one, Michael? I'm trying to remember.
I think I was teetering between Tom York and David Gilmour, and I chose Tom York.
Yeah, that's right.
If I could, not that I wanted to deprive the world of Radiohead, just that I would want that
talent.
He's the one I would.
You want two eyes.
That's right. That's right.
Oh man! And Rick, what was your pick?
Evil. You're so evil.
Somewhere Tom York's twitching. Eye is twitching. He doesn't know why.
What was the question? What was my pick for who would I would absorb?
Yeah, their talent. I don't even remember what my answer was now that I think about it.
And we spent a lot of time, and that guy was right next to you on your lap listening to you.
God, he was
absorbing your balls.
Like, yeah, this guy comes right up to me. Like, there's 20 feet of naked concrete like bench for him to sit on, and he's like up on my thigh.
He was inside you.
It was it was disturbing.
You were inside him. If we're being correct.
Yeah,
you were deep. Me. You were deep. You were mushroom deep.
Oh man. Yeah. So I didn't move because I'm like I'm not gonna fold to this guy, and eventually he did move, but like just kind of disturbing. But I can't remember what my answer was. I can't remember what your answer was.
You said you wanted to kill.
No, not that one.
I said I'd kill Paul McCartney.
No, not that question. Not that question. No, the absorbing, the power absorbing.
I think I said Eddie Vedder. Okay, I kind of settled
Rick
on
chose
Eddie Vedder.
Eddie. You chose Jimi Hendrix, and I chose Tom York.
That's right.
Yes, because you wanted to die young. You said you wanted to die swallowing your own vomit.
Oh no!
And then
we wouldn't.
And then you talked yourself out of starting a super band with me and Rick because I'd be Tom York.
Oh yeah,
vocally and musically, and then he'd be Eddie Vedder, and you were like, "Well, it wouldn't work if I was whatever." So,
I got a guitar, and I don't think the styles lend.
He'd be like Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
I still
York, Vedder, and
I can't defend Hendrix's voice.
So, did we agree that you would squander that talent? Jimi Hendrix in your hands would. None of those hits would have come out.
No, I'm not saying that by any means. I'm just saying that I don't know. Hendrix can hold his own.
Would you have spent it making jingles for commercials?
No.
Oh.
No. So then our next question after that was if we could eliminate somebody from music history completely erase them. They didn't exist.
And
therefore,
who was yours?
Whoever they influenced didn't exist. I took out Britney Spears.
Yeah,
I went straight for the easy, the obvious, the pop.
Britney Spears. You want to kill her?
Eliminate. Just rub her out.
Terminate.
So to eliminate them, does that mean they would
adjudicate,
die, or they would just disappear?
No, they just never existed.
Marty McFly's.
They just she's no longer in the picture. She doesn't exist.
What about her kids, dude?
She has kids.
You're a father,
poor
Mario.
Kids,
You're a
dude.
father.
Poor kids is what. Yeah, as a father, I say poor kids.
So if she disappeared,
I say maybe those kids would have been better off.
No, but would her kids
with a
disappear
different person.
if she disappeared? You have to take that into account now. Let's get real.
That's fine. That's fine.
If he erased her from existence, her
right.
kids would disappear from existence. So you're taking 3 lives, Mario.
But it's not in a murder aspect. It's in a.
But she disappears.
The thumb of God is
if
rubbing
she disappears,
them out
so do her
of the
fallopian
timeline.
tubes.
But see, Rick, you can't change what happened. Eventually, those kids would be born somewhere else. You can't stop. There's
a limited number of souls. Those 2 kids were the last original souls in heaven. It's the 7th sign. No, who was your pick?
6th sign.
6th sign.
The guff. I made the reference earlier. You didn't get it. I said the guff.
The guff. Wow.
The guff. The guff is empty. Demi Moore.
I didn't get that reference. I haven't seen that movie.
That's a badass movie, dude.
I haven't seen that movie in more than 10 years.
I remember as a kid seeing that and
awesome
being
film.
kind of creeped out because of that part where she gets naked, where she gets in the shower and she wants to slit her wrist, but she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So it's weird because as like a little kid seeing that, you're like, oh, she's naked.
Yeah, but then you're like,
she's pregnant and she's gonna kill herself.
Yeah.
It was very traumatizing.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
But it did feature Michael Biehn, who's gonna be at
at the Comic-Con, yeah.
And I like to
Which he doesn't have taken care of for us yet.
I know.
I asked him if he got the email. I'm still
that's
waiting.
not taking care of anything. It's like, hey, did you?
Hey, have you gotten yourself in? It's also $180 if you want to pay for yourself.
That's just mean, man. We're part of your team, and this is how you treat us.
Wow.
God.
I'm going to take my wife. Is it going to be a 3-hour long Comic-Con? Are y'all gonna be out there for 3 hours straight, nonstop?
No.
3 straight hours of Comic-Con.
Go into all the booths.
Probably closer to 7 or 8 hours.
Wow.
Straight Comic-Con, straight cosplay.
Well, I know you're capable of going that long.
That's impressive. I'm glad I won't get to see that.
So, by the way, I have to apologize to Michael Bean because I misspelled his name.
Why would you apologize? That guy
I misspelled his name. I put B-E-A-N.
Like Bean?
Like he's Mr. Bean.
Really?
Yeah.
What a jerk.
I didn't know.
Come on, man.
I looked it up and I was like, oh, I spelled it wrong.
B-I-E-H-N.
I get
What
it
a
now.
jerk.
I know. Anyway.
I hope,
Let's talk about jerks. Let's talk about jerks, everybody.
Hopefully I get to Comic-Con. This guy thinks your name's fucking Baracho Beans.
So you got rid of Brittany to completely eliminate the pop spawn that has gone from there.
I knew it wouldn't be eliminated, but
you wanted to eliminate her from your system, from your body. So you eliminate.
No, I wanted to hopefully lend a hand to staving away pop.
But what did she do? I still don't understand this. What did she do?
He's saying that the birth of her music and her phenomenon spawned a whole other culture. It spawned another culture of all these other pop stars that might not be here.
Selena Gomez.
Maybe, yeah.
So
that's why I said,
Aguilera,
and that's why I said I would remove Fred Durst because he would remove all the rap rock crap that infiltrated.
But who?
Yeah.
The thing is, we don't remember any of those people. So what does it matter? Like who? POD, Papa Roach.
Well, I kind of liked POD. That one song. That one song. I really like that one song.
You just nullified your own argument. What are you talking about?
Well, and some stuff you just can't keep from developing anyway. But
my point is like that's why you have to really. I mean, and let's man, I hope you're keeping up to date with the It's a Guy I Think podcast.com social media. Put these polls out there and ask people these questions because that's why I said like Fred Durst. He's a tool. He's bald. He had sex with Britney Spears, as far as we know.
Well, there you go. We wipe them both out.
So,
and then you save a couple of.
I mean, I'm not defending him.
You save a couple of penicillin shots for people that really need them.
He spawned these other groups, but I don't even remember them. I mean, POD had like that one song that was not terrible.
Yeah, it was not terrible.
What's it called?
Alive.
Not that one. That one sucked. The other one.
I'm still alive.
By the dude.
For the very first time.
What song are you talking about?
The other one, that's how it goes.
The one with the kids singing?
Yes,
because everyone's got to take the Pink Floyd thing?
Yes, everyone's got to do that.
We are.
Yeah, that's a good fucking song.
Youth of a Nation?
And it's not rap. I mean, there's rapping probably like... But is that really rapping? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's...
It's not Mother's Milk bad, but it's bad.
Okay, first of all, we have to apologize to everybody's ears. Rick just totally blew the sound waves, so hopefully...
Oh, sorry, I blew up your bows.
No highs, no lows. Must be a bows.
This interlude brought to you by Bose Sound System.
So, who did you remove with the thumb of
Paul
God?
McCartney.
Okay, so
there was no, and remember, there was no
a
fucking like qualms.
It's the only time he didn't hesitate. Everything else he took hours on.
Oh, this time he's like Paul McCartney.
I wish I could do a Paul McCartney voice just for this podcast. I can't. I'm terrible at voices, but it's horrible. It's like if you. It's like somebody talking with two tongues. Can't even do it.
So what's the argument to remove Paul McCartney from existence?
He just bugged me, man. He's bugged me out.
So this is a personal vendetta.
Stupid Rickenbacker or whatever the hell he played with. It looked like a frickin' mandolin. What was it? This bass guitar? It's annoying. He just seemed like he stifled Mr. Lennon. He probably
Mr.
Lennon. He probably programmed.
No, I thought didn't
Mark
Yoko
Paul
Ono?
Gosselaar. That's the guy that shot him, right? Mark Paul Gosselaar.
I believe so.
Is that Zach Morris's dad? Or Zach Morris?
Albert Clifford Slater is the shooter. Oh, we got to talk about that too. How much? What's our time frame on
Right
it?
now we're at an hour 3.
Are we pushing it? I think I got plenty to talk about. We got Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
We got the other thing, the
Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye, Alan Thickness, Laquanda's tweets. Did you like those, Mike?
That was amazing. Those are incredible. We got to read those.
Oh man.
Okay, so we're gonna do part 2, or we're gonna keep going?
No, I think we'll call this one. We'll call this one. I think once you blew up the bows, I think people are ready to call it a night.
Yeah.
Plus, we had to have a small EMP in here to keep Rick off the laptop and Mike off the phone.
We want to thank you for tuning into the channel of the podcast. Dude, that sounded like Flea, man. You're a good bass player. You brought that. Who knew Rick brought the bass in with him? That sounded amazing.
Why would you need to buy a bass? You've got your mouth. Bark, 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 bark. That's my Paul McCartney riff right there.
Hey, Rick. Don't be so mean to me.
I think he'll survive.
John,
I'll let him know in a couple of weeks when he's here. Because I killed my friend.
Man, on that note, you guys have a great time, night, day, whatever. Have fun at work. Go to sleep if you're not already asleep. Hopefully we woke you up a minute ago. Definitely check out the website, 210 Local Music.
Alex Clare's playing plastic.
Forget which podcast I'm doing now.
The Pink Floyd Experience.
Did you say 210?
No, what a jerk.
Nobody stopped me.
He's plugging his own stuff.
Man.
The Mario Lopez.com.
The Mario Show.
No, thanks for tuning into It's a Guy Thing podcast. Check out the website. Check us out on Twitter. Check out the show notes. There's links there. Thanks to iTunes for making everything linkable now. So you can just click on the picture and then click on whatever link you want, and it'll take you right there. See you guys next time. Bye.